There's one thing I've always admired about iQOO. They stick to what they believe is right and they don't change just to follow trends. You can see this clearly with the iQOO 15. It's not called the 15 Pro, it's not called Pro Max, and even the design hasn't really changed much over the past few years. This year, many of its competitors are copying the iPhone. This old-looking iQOO 15 has instead become something rare. And on top of that, iQOO's longtime weakness, the camera, has also been improved. So overall, it makes perfect sense that the iQOO 15 is selling extremely well this year. By the way, this great phone is already available on Geek Wheels. If you're interested in buying it, don't forget to check the link below the video. The iQOO 15 we have here is the Legend White version, but this is not the best looking one. The main featured color this year is called Lingyun, and depending on the viewing angle, you will see red ink-like patterns appear on the back. If you want a lighter phone, you can choose the black version instead. Its fiberglass back makes it thinner and lighter. Regardless of which color you go for, the camera module still keeps the RGB light strip. However, the lighting is only faintly visible from the side, and during daytime, you can barely see it even it's on. So if you want to use it as a notification indicator, you may end up missing important messages. The vibration motor is the 0916 type that can move along both the X and Y axis. The vibration strength is noticeably stronger than the competitors. And both the top and bottom speakers use 1115p drivers, giving you balanced stereo outputs. I'll include a speaker test at the end of the video so you can listen for yourself. If you really like the display on the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, then you should also like the one on the iQOO 15. It uses Samsung's latest M14 panel, the same one used in the iPhone 17 series. It even removes the polarizer layer, which increases brightness. The small hole at the top of the frame isn't an IR emitter. The IR emitter has been moved next to the flash. That hole is actually an additional ambient light sensor, so in total, the iQOO 15 has 3 ambient light sensors. This allows the phone to adjust the screen brightness faster and more accurately in different environments. Of course, there are drawbacks. A $590 phone will always have some compromises, like the slightly thicker bottom bezel, similar to the K90 Pro Max, and because there's no polarizer layer, the black levels aren't as deep. However, iQOO solved this with a simple approach. The pre-installed screen protector has an AR coating, and visually it works very similar to the AR coating on the iPhone 17 series, significantly reducing contrast loss caused by reflections. Although iQOO has never called itself a gaming phone, aside from not having trigger buttons, it is basically a gaming phone. To differentiate itself from the Vivo X300 series, the iQOO 15 uses the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 processor, and the performance tuning is very aggressive. But unlike the also aggressive Redmi K90 Pro Max, the iQOO 15 holds back a little bit. Both phones begin throttling around the 10 minutes mark, but the iQOO 15 brings down performance gradually, with the frame rate stabilizing around 45 fps at last. Thanks to the single-layer motherboard design and the extremely large vapor chamber, the iQOO 15 keeps temperature and power consumption at reasonable levels. So does the Q3 gaming chip actually help? Yes. While frame interpolation can be enabled at the highest resolution in Honkai Star Rail, super resolution can be turned on at high graphics settings, and the clarity is enough for my needs. With the Q3 assisting, the gaming experience is smoother and more power efficient. However, since the Redmi K90 Pro Max recently improved the performance of its D2 chip, its power efficiency has become incredibly good. So unfortunately, the Q3 is only the second strongest display chip we've tested. But the Q3 has one advantage that the D2 doesn't: ray tracing. With the ray tracing on, the most noticeable difference is that the reflections on surfaces like floors become more realistic. Only 2 games currently support this, but having it is still better than nothing. The main camera upgrade this time is the telephoto lens. The IMX AA2 is an excellent telephoto sensor, not only better than the one in another phone also named the 15, but even better than the ones on some Pro Max models. The clarity is great, every hair is captured clearly. Overall, I would rate this telephoto camera highly, but the minimal focusing distance is a bit long. If your subject is within 1 meter, the phone will shoot with a crop from the main camera instead. The main and ultra-wide cameras are the same as on the iQOO 13. The only thing I think needs adjustment is that the default vivid mode tends to overexpose the image. I understand why. More exposure makes the image look more eye-catching, but sometimes it becomes too bright. If you switch to the texture mode, this issue is solved and the photos look more cinematic. I recommend using that mode for everyday photography. The front camera supports 4K 60fps recording, but the sensor size is quite small, so even in this indoor environment, you can see the drop in the image quality. The rear video recording performance is average compared to more expensive flagships. Yes, it's slightly weaker, but it's still acceptable. The iQOO 15 has a 7000 mAh battery. Although that's large, it's not necessarily an advantage against competitors. However, despite the higher resolution display, the battery life is still competitive and I'm satisfied. The wired charging is 100 watt. Whether in the first 20 minutes or the final charging phase, it performs almost exactly the same as the K90 Pro Max. But the wireless charging is only 40 watt and third-party PVS chargers can only trigger 45 watts. The iQOO 15 is powerful enough, but in the charging category, Redmi and Xiaomi are still unbeatable. The iQOO 15 is very similar to Oppo's Find X9 series. I'm not talking about their appearance, but about their overall design philosophy, to make a phone with as few weaknesses as possible. After finishing this review, I feel that the most balanced phone this year is the iQOO 15. Compared to the more expensive Find X9 series, even the pricing is balanced. And with a 2K 144Hz Samsung M14 display, it's already more than enough. So, what do you think? Please share your thought in the comment section. Okay, don't forget that this phone is already available on Geek Wheels. We're from China, and we'll see you next time.